For Saturday, mostly sunny in the morning, then partly cloudy.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. Today's something different. This is the Natigo Crank camping radio, since we're now into the summer months coming up here and everybody wants to get out camping. I needed a radio like this that was kind of an all-in-one. So it's got light on it, it's a weather radio, it's got SOS, you can crank it. It even has a solar panel on it, so you can charge it, you know, just leave it out in the sun. And it's great to have stuff that doesn't kind of count on batteries that will run out. So I figured this would be great for camping. So we're just gonna quickly go over this today, gonna unpack it, see what it's all about, check out all the functions, and then, you know, take it outside and do some testing, you know, take it out at night, all that stuff, see how the crank works, if it charges, see how the solar panel's working, and the radio and all that stuff. So anyway, let's dive in to this solar crank radio for emergencies and camping. Okay, so as we can see on the box here, so it's got like a separate lamp and also a flashlight. So two sources of light here, the solar panel, crank radio as mentioned. And actually I didn't even realize this, but it actually has the ability to output for, you know, charging your cell phone. So that's great. It's basically a mini power station in itself with all these safety features, which are getting pretty popular now. You can see here on the box here, it also has a 4000 mAh battery in it. So anyway, let's check this thing out. Kind of cheaper packaging, but as long as the product does well, I don't really care too much about the packaging. So look at this thing. So it's got like a soft touch kind of plastic here, nice and bright red color. So you have it set it outside in your camping area in the wilderness, you're gonna be able to spot that color pretty good. So let's see what we got here. So I'm just gonna start opening things up. There is the radio antenna. You can see how it flexes up. And that thing can go about that far. That looks like about a foot of extension. So a high-powered LED light in there. Let's just try to turn this on real quick. There we go. Nice and bright. And it's just basically on and off for that. Check this out. Here's the solar panel, and I'm already seeing a little LED light in there. You see that? That's a charge indicator. Even with the ambient light in this room, it's lighting this thing up red, so it's already trickle charging this a little bit. So that's great to know. And you see this thing actually, wow, it's got a lamp. That's cool. So it's a solar panel slash light kind of back to back. And that's as far as that thing goes. It just clips in. So you just want to set it down, have your radio going or whatever. If you even want to pick it up at say a like 30, 45 degree or whatever to kind of be facing the sun, you can do that. And it has actually a light on it. And so you click that and check that out. A nice bright lamp that you can face up if you want. It's good to have that ability because you could just face it up in your tent and it could, like, you know, flood the whole tent. Looks like a very interesting and useful light. Tap it again and that just turns it off. So that's just off and on as well. But that just trips me out how it's charging just right here in the house, even off just the lights above us. Here's the crank, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna break. It's not metal or anything, but it is pretty sturdy. So you hear that? Basically a generator. So very interesting. So I'm just kind of going really easy, and it's easy to crank, but as I go harder, you can really feel that generator spinning up and trying to create electricity. So that's cool. So no sun, no power in the battery. Always you can just crank this and generate your own power. So there's a little SOS right here, this little button. See how that clicks on? It's already on the weather. It's just an analog tuner. So we've got a weather band, FM and AM radio. So just switch to FM.
That's right. You know, with the numbers that you shared at the top of the show,
that's loud. So that can go really loud. It's not a bass full sounding. It's a tinny sound, but
individuals or couples or families, all of us are working with
full
individual
blast
systems where.
So that thing is pretty dang loud. Let's try AM real quick. So not much AM stations I can pick up here in the mountains, but great to see how all that works. By the way, let's check out these ports real quick. So a standard USB-A Looks like there's also a headphone jack. And last but not least, a USB-C, and this is where you're gonna charge it. They give us this little tiny USB-C cable for charging, and there's the instruction book right there. But I wanna plug in like my phone and see how this actually works, see if I can charge it, because those are some good functions to have there. This would be great to have in your backpack because it's not very heavy, it's very compact. So all-in-one great functions. The last thing I want to try before I kind of take it outside, I want to plug in my cell phone and see how this thing charges. So I've got two USB cables here. One is the USB-A, and I'm going to plug right into that USB-A port. And let's just see if it outputs power immediately if everything's off, and we just plug in. Boom, and there we go. We are charging, guys. Awesome. So it will charge your cell phone straight from that USB-A port. I want to try this. I want to try the USB-C on my phone to the USB-C here and see what happens. If it's going to try to charge the device or if it's going to charge my phone. So not charging the phone, but it is charging the device. So if you had, say, a big phone or another power station, you can charge it in there. I do have this little power bank. These are always nice to have, but I want to see if this will charge it. Yep, and there's the charge light there blinking. So multiple ways to use this, you know, charge it off of different power banks, off of your phone, if your phone can do that, headphone jack, and the regular USB out as well. But looks, this one here, the USB-C is definitely just for charging the device. Wow, just a great multi-use little emergency radio, flashlight, all-in-one, power bank. Let's get out there outside, try the solar panel in some sun and see if it actually charges. So this is funny, guys. This is why you read instructions before you open things up. I just opened this thing up and I'm totally missed. You can extend this out, the actual reading lamp, so you can prop it up in your tent or whatever camping. And I want to try that out real quick. Remember, that's our reading lamp, and check this out. So you just pull this up and extend it. And we have a nice little extension lantern right here that we can point all the way vertical. You can't go back at all, but you can point it all the way up like that, and then everything in between all the way down. These are just plastic rails here, so be careful, but that's a great little bonus there. There's some little specs there, 300 grams of weight. Looks like if the flashlight or reading lamp is continuously illuminated, it can last for only 15 to 20 minutes. That's surprising. I thought it would be longer than that, but I do want to test that at night. Awesome, guys. So I was just listening to the weather radio. It works perfectly. I just wanted to take it out in the sun, and when you have this solar panel out here in the sun, this red light in here gets super bright. So we know that it's making some sort of power. The only thing I don't see is this battery light up. It lights up when you crank it and when you charge it with an external USB power source, but it doesn't light up with the solar panel. So what I'm thinking is just very slow trickle charge into the battery. So for this to do anything, you'd probably have to like leave this in the sun, you know, for a very long time. When I do crank this thing, watch this. The light on the front, hopefully you can see that. That starts to get bright. So we know that that's inputting power into it. So multiple ways to charge it. I'm loving that. Kind of self-sufficient, non-reliance on power if you are in an emergency. So loving this thing so far. I like that SOS function. That's really loud. Let me try that one more time. That's loud. I'm liking so far all the functions. It looks like it's not going to withstand a whole lot of rain, but it looks like it could sprinkle on it and then you could pull it out of the rain and it wouldn't really have any damage unless it really got soaked. Ports are sealed up with this little silicone seal. They look like they're going to be somewhat sealed if it starts to sprinkle on it, as long as that's closed good. Let's see how these lights, how bright they are, maybe even how long they last. Because people are going to want to have like a lantern on. Remember that little lantern there for a while, like in their tent. So I might just turn on all the lights, the radio, and see what the runtime is in nighttime. So you get a good idea of how long this thing lasts, just if it's constantly on. I know it's been a while, and I like to always test things for longevity as well when I can. So it's been about a month, even over a month actually. I've used this camping just a little bit. It worked great while I was camping. It's great that it has that solar thing. This will be a great test to see if, you know, you buy things and you don't need them all the time, to see if it kind of maintains a charge and still works after just sitting especially if it's like a camping item like this where you may just have it in your kit and you're not always using it and recharging it. So I want to see if it still works. Let's see here. So I'm going to do the weather radio. Actually, let's just do the flashlight. Yep, still got good light. Weather radio.
For Saturday, mostly sunny in the morning, then partly cloudy with a slight chance of showers.
There we go.
Thunderstorms in the afternoon.
So radio still works. Solar panel, I can see that light coming up when I put it in the sun. Of course, it barely needs any light for this thing to trickle charge, which is awesome. Remember, this thing has a light too. Let's make sure that still works. So yeah, so basically I've had this over a month sitting in my truck, used it once for camping up in the mountains, and no problems whatsoever. Still has that, you know, manual crank if you need it, if there's no sun and it's at night and you really need the power. So all in all, I'm going to say this is definitely something to keep in your kit. I mean, very inexpensive. Let's go through a quick pros and cons of what it can and can't do. It can charge your phone as long as it's not going to be like a super high output. It has the regular USB, it has the USB-C, it has that little microphone jack where you can hook up headphones if you wanted to and just listen to the radio silently or something. This manual crank is a must for these kinds of items, and that's kind of the reason you'd want one of these, is because even if there's no sunlight, as I explained, you have the ability to create power for it, and in an emergency, crank it up and use it as a flashlight, use it as an emergency radio, use it as a lantern, use it as a phone charger. And that's going to be the main thing too for some people. I'm glad they're including all these functions in these things now. We have weather band radio, FM, AM, all seem to work fine. The antenna, it packs away conveniently. So really, I'm not seeing anything wrong with this, aside from if it was to fall in the water, it probably really wouldn't work. I mean, it's got the rubber backing here to cover the ports, and I could see, you know, it sprinkled on it when we were camping a little bit, and no problems whatsoever. Just give it a little bit of sun to trickle charge it too, to keep it topped off. I'm thinking this is going to be definitely in my kit. I'm just going to leave it right in here in my truck box, and I'm going to have this locked. You know, I have my tow ropes and some gloves and some tools in here, shovel, all this kind of stuff that I'm leaving in my kit. And this is something that it looks like it's going to last and not degrade its power after, you know, a few weeks or something. It's at least going to be over a month, and it seems like it's fine in charge. So anyway, I always have the stuff I'm reviewing in the description. Definitely something to look at, guys, if you want an inexpensive kind of all-in-one radio, backup battery, charger, flashlight, lantern. I don't see why you wouldn't have something like this in your kit. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Definitely keeping it right here for emergencies. Thanks for watching.